Ladies and gentlemen, on the morning of the 22nd of July, 2025, after days of intensifying offshore, Typhoon Wipha officially made landfall in Vietnam, bringing with it Category 10 gusts and torrential downpours that felt like the sky was falling. In Quang Ninh, the eye of the storm swept through Ha Long City at exactly 2:45 p.m., ripping off rooftops, toppling centuries-old trees, and snapping power poles like toothpicks. Within minutes, the outdoor stage at Sunday Carnival Square, which had been set for a major music event, was completely destroyed by the violent winds. Tin roofs flew like giant blades across the sky. The storm didn't just bring rain, it carried a wrathful wind like nothing locals had ever experienced. Gales shrieked through neighborhoods, metal screeched as it was ripped from wooden frames and torn apart like paper in the air. Hundreds of tin sheets flew like blades, slamming down dozens of meters away, piercing rooftops, gardens, even brick walls. A man in Quang Thanh commune choked up as he recounted, "I was closing the doors when I heard a sound like an airplane, then a huge crash. When I looked out the window, the roof of the neighbor's house was gone. Their whole family came running, huddled together, taking shelter in my home." In central Ha Long, the winds were so intense they tore off signs, awnings, and even metal support structures from a major stadium. Large billboards, several square meters in size, were ripped from their frames and spun through the air like deadly blades before crashing down into the chaos of the streets below. Throughout the city, people returning home from work in the late afternoon found themselves battling howling winds and pounding rain. Many were knocked flat by gusts. Umbrellas turned inside out, motorbikes blown sideways, dragging their riders across the slick pavement. Bustling streets turned into war zones. Broken glass, debris, tin sheets, and shredded signage strewn everywhere, as the wailing of car horns, desperate shouts, and the constant roar of the storm filled the air. In Haiphong, ocean waves crashed over the Du Sun seawall. Fishing boats were smashed and swept inland, dragging with them rooftops, motorbikes, and furniture. In the city center, areas like Loc Tre and Andong were submerged in nearly a meter of water. Floodwaters invaded even three-story homes, forcing families to climb onto rooftops, screaming for help. An elderly woman, still in her pajamas, clutching her grandchild, was pulled to safety by rescue teams just moments before her roof collapsed. Even the quiet countryside of Tai Bin wasn't spared. Howling winds and a sudden tornado flattened 3 homes in Dongmin Commune, trapping a family of 4 beneath the rubble. Thousands of hectares of newly planted rice were flattened. Floodwaters swallowed livestock, machinery, months of hard labor swept away in a blink. Even Hanoi, considered a fortress city, wasn't safe. Around 1:30 p.m., a sudden whirlwind struck Kaohsiung district, sending metal roofs, ventilation fans, and signs flying. A massive tree fell across Tran Dai Hung Street, crushing a moving car. Thankfully, the driver escaped unharmed. Meanwhile, rain flooded the Trung Hoa, Nanqing underpass, stalling dozens of cars, with drivers forced to swim through filthy black water to get out. The city's ancient drainage system completely failed under the storm's fury, turning major streets into rivers flowing through the heart of the capital. Heartbreaking footage emerged, the elderly hunched on plastic stools surrounded by floodwater. Men pushing dead motorbikes through chest-deep water, eyes red with despair. Local governments activated emergency response protocols. Over 12,000 rescue personnel, soldiers, militia, and volunteers were mobilized to the hardest-hit areas. Stadiums and schools were turned into temporary shelters. Hundreds of tons of relief supplies and clean water were rushed overnight to flood-stricken communities. As of the morning of the 22nd of July, at least 21 people had died, with hundreds more injured or missing. Property damage was estimated in the trillions of VND. But more devastating than any number was the silent grief of those who lost loved ones, homes, and entire harvests they had poured their lives into. Typhoon Wipha didn't just leave destruction in its wake, it sounded an alarm about how vulnerable we truly are in the face of increasingly unforgiving nature. Dozens dead or missing, thousands left homeless. Everything lost in just a few short hours. But amidst the wreckage, we also saw the strength of compassion, the resilience of the human spirit. Rescue boats fighting upstream, hands reaching out in the storm, flashlights cutting through the darkness. And with that, the hope that we will overcome. Share this video to help spread vital information. If you live in an affected area, don't take chances, act now, for your safety and the safety of those you love. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the latest weather alerts and disaster updates. Until next time, we wish you and your family safety and strength through every storm.